This is Sky Blues Extra.
Hello and welcome to another special episode of the Sky Blues Extra podcast with me, David Moore, and I'm joined again this evening by the usual suspects of Andrew Greasley and Tom Ward. We're also joined this evening by a very special guest, a member of current Sky Blues squad. Our guest this evening started his career at Scunthorpe and had spells at Ebbsfleet, Stevenage and Peterborough before making the move to the Sky Blues. He has been instrumental in helping the Coventry team achieve promotion as champions this season, scoring 15 goals in 33 appearances. I'm obviously talking about the striker, Matty Godden. Matty, thank you for taking the time and sharing your Sky Blue story with us and our listeners.
Yeah, no problem, boys. I'm pleased to be on here.
Fantastic. And like I say, I'm sure we're going to spend a lot of time this evening talking about the fantastic season that Coventry have just had. The thing that I did want to start off with is pretty much where your career began. You started and grew up in Kent. We just thought it'd be nice to sort of tell our listeners about your upbringing and how you sort of got into football.
I've always loved football. Like I started, I think, probably since I've been able to walk. I used to go over the park and all that and play with my old man. And we was lucky because there was a little football club called Faversham Strike Force that were taking on or doing like little sessions for 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds at the time. So I used to do that in my baggy Arsenal kit that was 5 sizes too big for me. And yeah, we loved it. I loved it. And ever since then, it was been a dream to like try and play football like every young kid. And obviously I've managed to do it.
And who did you kind of grow up watching in terms of a team? And did you have any sort of heroes growing up that you watched on the TV?
Well, I'm an Arsenal fan. My uncle instilled that into me and just said, look, you've got to support Arsenal. He's a massive Arsenal fan. My old man's a Wolves fan, but purely for the fact that it was the only top that my nan could get him at the time. So he's a Wolves fan, and I weren't going to support Wolves. Being obviously with Arsenal flying back when I was growing up. So sure. Yeah, I was an Arsenal fan, and I just ever since then I just followed them, and then the likes of Thierry Henry, Ian Wright. I used to have Ian Wright up all over my wall, and them sort of days.
And you moved up to Scunthorpe age 15 after being offered an apprenticeship. Was it a tough decision to sort of move away from home at that young age?
I wouldn't say I had too long to think about it, if I'm honest, because I was at a soccer school down home. We used to call it Billy Bones because that's the guy that owned it and runs it and still does now. But it's called First Touch Soccer School. I think you might have changed it slightly to like Academy or something like that. But at the time, I was in year 11 at school, so coming up to obviously GCSEs and that sort of thing, but hadn't really had a look in anywhere at any pro clubs. So I was playing for a Sunday league side down home, and he come to watch. He was just doing some scouting because his aim was to try and coach what he thought were the better kids of our age group. So we'd play for our Sunday league side on a Sunday, train with them on a Friday night, but on a Saturday morning he would take a coaching session. There's loads of them about now, but he kind of started it down where we was, because there's obviously limited number of clubs. There's only Gillingham really in sure. Kent and Charlton, which is still South London. So he built that up, and I was playing for, like I said, my Sunday league side, and he approached my dad, and he come round to our family home and just sat us down and told us what he was all about and what he wanted to do. And basically I had the coaching from him on a Saturday, and he's still probably to this day one of the better coaches I've had in my career, even at the numerous pro clubs I've been at. And then in the half terms when we was at school, like the weeks off that you get, or like a bank holiday, or the summer holidays when we used to go on bigger tours, but we used to tour the country, and we used to have a big double-decker, nice coach, and us lads would be at the top messing around. And the dads would be downstairs, and they'd love it because they could have a few beers, and us boys would relax up the top, and then we'd say we used to go to the northeast a lot, so we used to go and play like Newcastle, Sunderland, over like a free night weekend. But on the way up, we'd play the likes of Leicester, Rotherham, and then on the way up to this tour, we actually played Scunthorpe, and I scored 2 goals and made them aware of myself. And I think it was actually the following half term they wanted to play us again, and we done another tour, not as long, only a couple of nights, but that sort of way again. I think we played like Forest and Derby, and then again Scunny on the way back, and I scored 2 again, and they offered me an apprenticeship straight away, and I was the first person to get that at Billy's. We only had 15, 16 lads at the time, and he's grown that soccer school to probably 200 players now, and they tour Europe, not just our country, and so yeah, without him, I wouldn't have had the opportunity.
And when you go somewhere at that age, what do? Do you sort of stay with like another family, or because obviously you're very young, aren't you? I guess moving.
Yeah, I was really fortunate because there was 4 of us that were in digs, and there was no digs available at the time. No one wanted to take 4 lads into their family home. Yeah. So we was actually panicking and struggling, and Scunny was struggling to house them. So Tony Dawes, the youth team manager, had to have us in his house for what he thought would only be temporarily, but actually turned out to be I basically stayed there for, I think, a year, 18 months. And for the first year especially, we had 4 of us in this one big room, and it was I didn't really have time to think about it. Because I go straight up from school. Everyone else is doing their GCSE. I did my GCSEs, but I was doing my GCSEs knowing that I was going up to play football. And it took a bit of pressure off me. Not to say that I didn't concentrate for my exams. I did.
Of course.
The sort of person my old man is. But I literally everyone was out like partying and doing and just messing around with their mates after school, and I did my exams and had to start pre-season, I think 10 days later. So I had no time to think about it or spend time with my mates. It was literally a drive up there, get dropped off, and into pre-season.
And you struggled a little bit with injuries during your youth career, but you did get offered a professional contract in 2009. Were you sort of worried at any point that your injuries were kind of holding you back from getting that professional contract?
I think I did start to worry, yeah, but the injuries, I picked up most of my injuries in my YT in my first year, and we purely put that down to, it was like ongoing like knee pain and things like that, which like wasn't showing up anything on like scans or anything, and they put it down to purely, I've grew up since I was 4 years old, of training once, sometimes don't even train, and then turn up and play on a Sunday with my Sunday league side, to go in full-time football training every day at youth level. It's not like when you're a pro and you train on a Monday, Tuesday, have Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, and have Sundays off. It's not like that. As a YT, you train every day, 3 times a day, and you're not allowed to leave the building until probably 4 or 5 o'clock, because back then you had to make sure all the jobs were done. I had 6 pairs of pros boots that I had to clean, balls, bibs, and cones, and boys don't have to do that nowadays. So we wasn't leaving until 4 or 5 o'clock, and it was hard work, and they put that down to my body breaking down, because of not being used to like the full-time football, whereas there's lads already in the youth team that had come through the system, and still today academies train 3 times a week.
And then over the next few years, you went on to make a number of loan spells. How did these spells sort of help your development?
It probably made me the player that I am today. Because my first loan spell was my first year as a pro, and I joined the team at step 6, I think they were, maybe step 7 in Brigtown.
Yeah.
Like a local side to Scunthorpe, just so they could keep an eye on me. And I was turning up there, a scrawny little kid, basically, that was going into men's football. And luckily, I took to it and accepted that I was going to get battered and bruised, and that's made me who I am today. I'm not scared to chuck myself about now and get whacks. And I think, I put it down to going out on loan to teams like that, right down the pyramid, where you're playing against players that some players I was sharing a dressing with people that would go out and have a fag at half time. It's that sort of level, and it opened my eyes a bit as well that there's having 4 or 5 pints after a home game and crates of beer after an away game. It really opened my eyes, but it probably made me who I am, to be fair.
Yeah.
Was there a particular club that you enjoyed the most, Matty? I imagine it was nice being near a home, near Ebbsfleet and Dartford.
Yeah, I loved them 2 spells there.
Yeah,
I loved it mainly because they were their highest level that I played at the time, and I just wanted to see if I could do it. And obviously, I started very well on both loan spells and scored. Scored for them, but only spent a month or 2 with them at the time. But yeah, I loved it. It brought me back home to my family, and it was the first time I could spend some actual time with my missus properly. We'd probably been together 4 years, and we're used to seeing each other once every 6 weeks or something like that. So, it made me really enjoy my football.
Yeah, and you made the permanent move to Ebbsfleet in May 2013. How did that come about, Matty?
We'd just been promoted from League 2 with Scunny. I think in the end we should have probably won the league, but I think we might have ended up 3rd. But I didn't really feel massively part of it. I had one loan spell. When Brian Law started off there as a manager, I had a little injury at the start of the season, which was really unfortunate because he even said himself that I was starting that first game of the season if I hadn't picked up a niggle. It was just one of those things. I went out on loan, done well, come back, and then Russ Wilcox got the job, and I really enjoyed it under Russ, but the team were on a ridiculous run. I think they went unbeaten for like 30 games. It was a club record. It was silly, and I was just on the bench or not involved. And as much as Russ loved me, I just had to accept the fact that the boys are on fire, and that's part of football. And I got sniffed towards the end and slightly in the middle as well. And it come to the end of the season, but obviously at that stage, I think I was probably 22. So all Scunny had to do was offer me exactly the same wages as what I was on, because of this Bosman rule and the compensation thing, and that's exactly what they did, and I wouldn't say it hurt me because that's the wrong word, but it didn't really annoy me either. I was a bit gutted in a way, and it sounds wrong, but I wanted to be let go, and that sounds so wrong, considering we'd just been promoted, and I was a League One, but I'd have been at a League One club at the age of 22, 23, not really played a game, just purely for an ego. That's how I've seen it. Like that, you see it so many times nowadays that lads just for their ego they stay at League One clubs and
just pick up the money, don't they? Yeah,
pick up their money and they're not going to really go if they get released at that age, and they're going to really struggle in life. It's the money's not great when you've come through somewhere like that and not really done anything. As much as managers loved you, it doesn't matter. And so I went back and And I just said to Russ, like, he said, what do you think? Obviously, well, we want you to sign it. I said, I want to go and play football like all the time. I said, not these loan spells. And I said, can you have a chat with the chairman and see if they can do something? And he phoned me back a couple of days later and said, look, the chairman's agreed that you can go. You can go for free. They won't take any compensation or anything like that. They just want a 50% sell on. And Ebbsfleet agreed to that, and I went and signed at Ebbsfleet, and then I enjoyed probably like really, really started to enjoy my football, and I think that was probably because I was down home.
Yeah, did it help your football get a consistent run of games?
Yeah, massively. You go from going on loan spells, scoring a load of goals, getting called back because you're scoring a load of goals after a month, 2 months, to being on the bench again, and it's just the inconsistency to it is horrible, because you guys have seen me play, and if I get on runs, I feel like I'm going to score in every game, and it's horrible as a striker. A lot of the strikers are the same, and you just want to carry on playing. And obviously you're on loan, so they're entitled to call me back. But as a player and a selfish point of view, it was annoying and frustrating. So when I could go, and albeit dropping down the leagues, I knew I was going to play more or less week in, week out, enjoy my football, and start rebuilding my career to try and get back to where I left Scunny, and eventually higher now.
Yeah, especially as a forward, you need to be playing games, don't you? You need to be getting that consistent level of performance going, don't you?
Exactly.
And like you said, you score in batches quite a lot, don't you, Matty?
Yeah.
So when you're playing week in, week out, that's going to help you no end, isn't it?
Yeah, 100% that, and that my game is exactly like that. I'd go games with, I'll probably go 4, 5, 6 games without scoring, and then would score in the next 6 or 7 games. It's mad. I've always done it throughout my whole career. The year that I scored 30 odd goals for Ebbsfleet, the year that I went to Stevenage, I didn't score for the first 8, 9 games, I don't think. Then I scored a couple, didn't score again, and then I scored in 10 games on the trot. It's just, it's mad.
When you came back into the Football League with Stevenage, you had a really impressive goal scoring record there. It must have been pleasing to get that move back into the Football League after sort of taking that drop to Ebbsfleet. Yeah,
it was. That's what I set out to do.
Yeah,
and it was obviously pleasing. I actually got the call in, I think it was probably March.
Right.
From my agent called me and just said, "Look, Stevenage want to sign you, want to chat." And straight up, I just said, I don't want to talk to them yet, because we was on such a good run at Ebbsfleet. Well, we weren't such a good run after Christmas, but we were top of the table at the time, and we had a job to try and do, and I didn't want any distractions from my agent telling me who was sniffing around, and all right, Stevenage really wanted to do something, but I said to Stevenage, look, I will come and talk to you, but I need to concentrate on what I need to do and what we've set out to do here. And I think that's one of the things that made them really, really want to sign me, is the fact that when I put my mind to something, I want to set out and achieve it. And albeit we lost in the playoff final at Ebbsfleet, and I went and spoke to him straight away and signed not long after our season at Ebbsfleet finished.
Yeah, it shows you, like you say, committed to that cause, and they probably saw that professionalism coming through.
Yeah, 100%. You don't usually, I wouldn't say you'd probably get that too much at 23, a lad turning down the opportunity to speak to a league club from a Conference South club, but I felt that obviously I was contracted to Ebbsfleet at the time, and my mind needed to be fully focused on them.
And then you made the move to Peterborough. We recently spoke to Dara. He was really complimentary towards you, just as both as a professional and on the pitch. What was your time like at posh?
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was, well, the first 2 months of the season, I was arguably playing at the leading up to that time some of the best football I've ever played. I started really, really well there, and yeah, I've got to be careful what I say. It was obviously Steve, being Steve, he's an interesting character in the game, and obviously we had, I wouldn't say like big differences, but I didn't agree with the way that things were put across and comments made towards me after a certain game. I didn't feel that was right, and then obviously he lost his job in February, or whenever it was, and then Darren Ferguson come in, and again I got on really well with him and especially his assistant Strax, and I scored a couple of goals for him when he was in charge, but his main man at the time, and obviously this year, and was Ivan, and Ivan that has done brilliantly this year, and for whatever reason we couldn't, as a combination, we couldn't enjoy games together. We get on really well off the pitch, but for whatever reason it didn't click on it. And he wasn't scoring when I was playing, and I wasn't scoring when he was playing. But when neither of us were on the pitch, we both seemed to score. So that obviously Darren's number one was Ivan, and then come the end of the season, again I had a chat with the gaffer and just said, look, if it's going to be like this, I'd like the opportunity to go and play elsewhere, and where I'm going to know that I'm going to get a decent run of games, especially at my age now. And he understood, and as he reiterated that he didn't want me to go, but if it meant that I'd play every week, which he couldn't guarantee, then he understood. And obviously they spent a lot of money in the summer on Mo Isa as well. And and then I knew that was probably my cue to have another little chat and just say, look, I don't want to be playing not second fiddle but third fiddle to two strikers. So I definitely like the opportunity to go, and that's where Peterborough and what Darragh and Barry Fry are unbelievably good at. And I couldn't speak highly enough when if you're a young player going to that club, if you do well or if you want to go, they will get you out of that club, and they get the best deal they can for them. But also you tend to get a better deal where you're going as well. So from that perspective, they signed a lot of players from non-league, but they didn't have to make a lot of money from doing that as well.
Yeah, of course. And this is probably moving on now to the bit that all of our listeners have been looking forward to hear. But you finally sort of made the move to the Sky Blues, August 2019. Just talk us through that sort of move and how quickly it came about, and perhaps that transition period.
Ridiculously quick. It was actually the first game of the season. And obviously everyone knows last pre-season it was, when obviously I lost my mum and everything like that just before we was due to go back. I had a real stop-start pre-season. I had a little ongoing niggle from the season before, which didn't help, but I was still training. And then obviously with what had happened with my mum and I probably only had a two-week pre-season, which was obviously not enough. And I don't think I was in the squad for the first game of the season. I was fit, but I wasn't involved, which is understandable because of the situation that had gone on. And I was just in the stand just before the game, and one of the lads come and got me and just said, Barry wants to chat with you in his office. And I thought they were having me on. I was like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, why now? It's like the lads were in ready to go, to get their. They were just literally doing their pads and boots, and they were walking out of the tunnel for the start of the season. I was like, Baz, what's up? And he said, we've we've had obviously because of the Portsmouth thing and the Portsmouth scenario as well that got turned down. He just wanted to just say, look, but Portsmouth is a no-go, but we're Coventry have come in. What do you think? I said, I want to go straight up. I just said, I want to go. He said, what about the situation with like the family and everything? And I said, it's 2 good opportunities to turn down. I said, it's a huge club. And straight away he was like, right, okay, it's not finalised yet, but keep your phone on you over the weekend. And I didn't hardly watch the game, to be honest. I was just looking at my phone. And I was looking. I can't remember. I was sat in the stand. I had Sky Sports app up on my phone. I kept on refreshing the Cov Southend score, and then I was like, they've won, and obviously Peterborough lost 3-0 at home or 3-1 at home to Fleetwood, and I was like, here we go, like. Right, let's see what happens. I drove back down south like I would after a game, and I was just constantly on my phone, just waiting. And then on the Sunday, Baz rang me again and was just like, look, we are getting close. Just are you sure? Blah blah blah. And I said, yeah, I want it done. He said, okay, I'll do my best. Then Monday, I was literally about to go out to train, and they stopped me from going out to training. I had my boots on, was walking out to the training pitch, and Baz shouted at me and said, I don't want you to go and train just in case you get injured in training. I was like, okay. Why, have you heard anything? And he said, I'm expecting to hear in the next half an hour. And within 20 minutes, he said, can you get to Coventry for tomorrow? I was like, yeah, I'll go. And I literally... in that time, my agent was speaking with Coventry, and I literally turned up on the Tuesday, and there was no more negotiations to be done. It was signed on the Tuesday. Dusted. So it took 3 days, I think.
And what did you kind of know about Coventry? I know you mentioned about the refreshing of the Sky Sports app, but just in terms of Coventry's sort of history, but before that, what did you know about the club?
I knew from when I was growing up that it was a huge football club, one of the biggest in the country, and then obviously like my stepdad and my dad. My dad's likes his football. My stepdad's a massive West Ham fan, and everyone that I just spoke to about it, just after I'd signed or just before I signed as well, was just like, this is a huge opportunity for you. You don't realise how big a club this is. Yeah. Some of the away games and everything that I've been to this year just reiterates what everyone said to me, how big a club this is. You don't usually see many teams in League One sell out basically every single away game we go to and basically turn it into a home game. So yeah, it was the first time I've had that throughout my career, and something that I think makes me play better. I love playing in front of a big crowd, and especially when the away fans are packed into an away end, or I've got more away fans there than home fans. We've had a couple of games this year, and turn it into a home game. And
you're listening to Sky Blues Extra.
And you mentioned obviously joining kind of one game into the season. Was it strange not having a sort of full pre-season with the squad?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, like I said, it was weird not having a pre-season anyway. I don't like to miss training sessions as it is. So to miss a good massive chunk of pre-season at my parent club at the time, but then to move as well, it was very. It was very weird, but the gaffer come up to me after my, I think, it was my first training session on the Thursday. He come up to me and just said, "What do you think you could give me?" And I said, "What's your pre-season been like?" And I was just honest with him. I said, "It's been non-existent basically, but I'm quite a fit lad anyway. I'm one of those that get back into it pretty quick." And he said, "Yeah, I can see that. But how long do you think?" And I said, "Well, maybe half hour on Saturday," and that was against Bolton, I think. and then build it up from there at Exeter and in the cup where I can get a decent amount of minutes then. And he done that, and we built my minutes up there. I started at Exeter obviously and scored and then managed to stay in the side then and just build up my minutes that way.
And when you arrived at Coventry, how did you sort of settle in? Were the lads quite welcoming to you?
Yeah, easy. Straight away, I went looking for properties around Leamington on my first day. I remember.
Oh, really?
I bumped into a few of the boys that had just been for a coffee, and they said, "Oh, when you if you stay around here, we go for a coffee and that, and jump on board." And we go for a coffee nearly every day now. So
yeah.
A load of us. So yeah, I settled in really well, and I think if you don't find it easy to settle in the group of lads that we've got, then you're struggling any dressing room.
Yeah. We've kind of heard that time and time again, really, on the podcast, that the sort of togetherness of the lads, and everyone's really close. Do you have anyone sort of in particular that you're close with from the squad?
No, I wouldn't say anyone really. Obviously, I get on really well with everyone. We all get on so well. We're such a close group. We've obviously got the coffee club, which is like me, Fads, Jamie Allen, Ben, Rosie.
Little five-a-side team.
Yeah, Dom comes on his way home as well sometimes, and obviously Shippers because it's local. So yeah, but everyone, like I said, everyone's so close.
And in some of those early training sessions, what were your thoughts on the style of football that Robbins and ADV were instilling onto the pitch?
For League One and League One clubs that I've been at the time, I couldn't get my head around how much football they played when I arrived, and to the fact that where Marco rarely kicks it over the halfway line, and you've got to be a brave side, brave manager, brave coach to do that at League One level. With the teams that you come up against that really try and put you up against it and stick it on you, and but with the players that they've recruited and the players that they brought in and that we've got, I think that's probably the only it was the only way we could play last year. Our plan B was a change in formation, but still to change still to play the same way. And that's what we've done, and every single player bought into it, and that's what we want to do. That's football the enjoyable way. It's not obviously there's no disrespect to teams in the league that like to get the ball forward, because that might work for them, but for us,
of course, our
players, it's how we all want to play, and we feel football should be played on the floor and exciting football, and I think we definitely showed that this year.
And were there any players that stuck out in terms of their ability when you arrived at the club, Matty?
Obviously, there's so much ability in the squad. It's scary, but I wouldn't say we really had a massive standout player. Obviously, Walshy, he arrived after I arrived, and he is the best player that I've ever played with. And a lot of players would probably say that. Some of the stuff he does in training is scary, or done in training is scary. And he was unbelievable. And how he weren't getting in the Bristol side, all us boys would never know. Because I think he will now, don't you? Yeah, like Fad said, Fads has been around the block, and he don't nickname anyone Messi for no reason, and he nicknamed him Messi for some of the mazy runs that he goes on, and his passing range is phenomenal. But then you got different players. Obviously, he was a joke. And then you've got Funky right back that's like an absolute machine. But I don't think there was really like a. Other than Walshy, really, there's a huge he could go for stupid amounts of money. Do you know what I mean? It's just Frankie was obviously so good. Like all the everyone. I can't put my finger on like an individual.
Yeah. And one of the early games which sticks out in my memory is the Portsmouth away game. That was some game, wasn't it, Matty?
Oh, that was crazy. That had everything.
It was.
From taking the lead and deservedly so to playing some unbelievable football, especially first half. To think we could really, really turn them over here, to then go in 2-1 down at half time.
Yeah.
And then go down to 3-1 and then obviously Fanky got sent off.
Yeah, he got sent off, didn't he? Or was it Fads? Fads or Fanky, I think it was, wasn't it?
Fanky, yeah. And then,
Fanky.
And then Gervain.
Yeah, because I remember the gaffer saying at half time to Fanky, just be careful because you're on a just be careful, you're on 5 minutes later he's off. And then obviously Gervain come on and Lippy Pitt obviously had a yellow after 2 minutes of being on and then
went for a swim.
I remember when he must have slid from 15 yards away, and you could see my head when he's about 2 yards out from the player, thinking, "Oh no, here we go."
Yeah. He's still sliding now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like that Campbell gif, isn't he? When he just keeps on going and going and going. Yeah, and obviously he went down, and then I managed to put away the pen, and then Rosie had a goal disallowed actually, and that put it back to 3-3, I think. And then we could have won it, but and then he obviously got another opportunity, Rosie, to stick it away. And I just remember I don't think anyone celebrated with Rosie.
No,
Rosie running off.
In the air, didn't they?
Yeah, everyone just jumped in the air and done their own celebration with the crowd. It was mad. I remember standing on the advertising board. Shippers was doing his own thing, and yeah, it was mad.
Yeah, and early in the game, you provided a brilliant assist for Geordie Hawula, who he took it away brilliantly. And obviously later in the game, you stuck away the penalty, sent the keeper the wrong way. Must have been nice to get an early impact in your Sky Blues career, Matty.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think that was my first league goal. Was that my first league goal? Yeah.
So. Yeah. So you scored against Exeter, didn't you, in the cup?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I obviously was having an input with the side, obviously with assists and things like that, and it was nice to get an assist early on for Geordie, and then when the pen come, it was I just see that as me versus the keeper. I know everyone sees it as a lottery, and if the keeper goes the right way, but from 12 yards, if you pick your spot and hit it true, then most keepers won't save it. And that's how I see it. I see it me versus the keeper, and as a striker, I should 90% of the time score. And obviously, I scored, and just those crazy scenes at the end of that game.
Yeah, and it's especially against Portsmouth because they're always up there, aren't they, in that league? So to come, back against a side of that quality must have really gave confidence in the squads going forward. Yeah,
we knew. We knew, obviously, the teams that were going to be up there come the end of the season, and it's no surprise that they were, and you know the teams that are going to be there or thereabouts, and to do that, but some of the football we played, forget the 3-3. Some of the football that we played in the first 20 minutes was tearing them apart. And
we had Rosie on last week, and he said that the first 20 minutes was probably the best football we played all season. It was that good. Yeah,
especially away at Fratton Park. There's 20-odd fouls. There's a lot of pressure on them to obviously go and win the game, and but there's just as much pressure on us to try and obviously teams go there to try and stay in the game, and we've gone there and thought, no, we're not going to try and stay in the game here. We're going to take the game to you, and that's exactly what we done. And barring the sending offs, and who knows what would have happened.
And then your next goals came in two entertaining games against Oxford and Blackpool. Must have been obviously nice getting the goals in those games, and especially the Oxford game. That was a mad game, especially at the end, wasn't it? With Franky's 2 unfortunate own goals.
Yeah, that was again another crazy 3-3.
Yeah.
And like you just said, it was nice to grab a goal and a decent header, and but obviously that was to take it to 2-0, wasn't it? And then they got it obviously back to 2-2. and then with minutes to go, like a minute to go, it was in added time. I think Cow obviously went through and scored.
Yeah,
and we thought and again, a team that we knew that out of everyone that we've played this year, they would probably been the team that matched us football wise, and that really gave us a problem, especially first half. And then obviously, like I said, just the Cow scored, and we was like, right, we're going to come away from another rival that are going for it with 3 points here, and unfortunately they brought it back to 3-3. But again, you look at that game, and taking a point away at Oxford's never a bad result, but
no,
the position that we had ourselves in, that we should have probably gone on and saw the game out. But yeah, no, I'll take it 100% now, all day long.
And then we played Blackpool at home, didn't we? And we were 2-0 down, and then I think you brought it back to 2-2 with a brilliant strike, opportunist strike, and then Cal O'Hare won at the end, didn't he?
Yeah, again, it's another crazy game, and we had a couple of them crazy games at home where we even nicked a late goal for a winner, or a late goal to keep our unbeaten run going at the time, and we obviously went 2-0 down early doors, and probably deservedly so. We weren't great for the first 20 minutes, but then again after that, then again we played some ridiculous stuff that's not League One level, and we just obviously went in at half time 2-2 with Wes's goal, and then I think second half we hardly gave them a kick. I remember we just battering on the door, and it was their defenders. I remember their defender saying to me, he was like, "God, you boys play some football, by the way." He said, "We're hanging on here, and we've still got 20 minutes to go." We didn't score till virtually the last kick of the game. But again, there's some incredible scenes so early on in the season, and again, one of the games that we definitely look back on.
Yeah, and a few drinks afterwards, Matty, weren't it, on that night, wasn't it?
Yeah, night, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the picture on Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, that's it, yeah, with me and Cow, and
class.
Yeah, we had a few beers.
Yeah, why not?
And a bit of a blip, I suppose, in the season. When you look back, it would be one of the only ones, really. Rotherham and then Tranmere. Just as sort of one of the older heads, perhaps, in the dressing room, did you have to sort of any encouragement for the lads and try and pick up their heads after those defeats?
I wouldn't say like words of encouragement, really. It was just, we knew at Rotherham away we were miles off it. We got bullied. You could say we got bullied. We was soft, and we obviously tried playing in the wrong areas, doing what we do. We didn't come away from that, and that's what we done. And we got overrun. We wasn't good enough on the day, and we got what we deserved. But so we just, as lads and as senior lads, you kind of just let that one go because of what we leading up to that stage after 10, 12 games. We whatever it was. You kind of just think, right, hopefully this is just a blip now. And then again, after the Tranmere game, it's another one that you didn't really have to say anything, because if anyone watches the game, we should have won the game 8-0.
Yeah, I know.
Obviously, if I had my shooting boots on, I could have probably had about 20. But then, it's just what they literally, it was a smash and grab at the end. And I had people to me after the game, and because it was obviously live on Sky, saying, "How the hell have you boys not won that game? They've literally had one shot on target." And that's what Sky showed. They had one shot on target, and we had obviously ridiculous amounts and come away with nothing. But I know that's football, but
exactly.
You go on performances wise, there was absolutely nothing wrong with our performance other than my shooting boots. There was nothing wrong with it.
And we started to really accumulate points. We were winning at home and drawing, some of our away games. And then we travelled to top of the table Wycombe just after Christmas. And it sort of felt for fans that it clicked into place. Like even going to that game felt like it could be the first sort of away win. Was that the case, or do you think it was just a matter of it was knocking on the door and it was coming?
We knew it was coming, but we knew that we hadn't won away all year. We said that going into that game, that was that was a game we looked at. Look, if we can get an away win here, we could go on and do something. They're obviously top of the table. We can proper put a statement out to the rest of them that we're going to be there or thereabouts. We obviously had it in our favour that we hadn't played Boxing Day.
Yeah.
With the unfortunate situation that Bury were in.
Of course.
But yeah, we turned up there, and again, some of the football we played and some of the comments from their players, and you don't usually see Wycombe play. You don't see Wycombe get turned over 4-1 on their own patch ever, especially in League 2 or League 1.
No.
And we turn up there, and because it's very easy with Wycombe, they're very effective at what they do. They've got unbelievable team spirit, and the way they play, they make it really, really hard for opposition teams. And not many teams will turn up there, and it's easy to get sucked into our Wycombe play.
Yeah.
And we turned up there and just thought, no, we're going to play how we play. We're going to pop it about, play out from the back and do what we do and not come away from that. And that's obviously the best thing that we ever done.
Yeah, that style just completely, they just didn't have any answer to it, did they?
What they were doing, no, they were all over the shop, and obviously we went out 3-1 winners. No,
and obviously the hat-trick goal, it was, still looking back at it now, it was just such a fantastic team goal. But then obviously a great finish by yourself.
Yeah, no, it's probably my favourite goal of my career, I'd say. Really? Probably best goal. Not my favourite goal, but probably my best.
I think Tom's still got the bruises actually on his back from falling down the...
Yeah, I've got scars and all sorts from that.
Really? Yeah, I don't score many goals outside 12 yards, let alone around the 20-yard mark. So yeah, to hit one on the half volley with my left foot is something that won't happen very often.
Did it feel that day that you just, everything that you sort of touched turned to gold? Even the whole team, it just felt like every time we went forward we were going to score. It just, the confidence levels just looked so high.
Yeah, we just knew we got obviously with a perfect start with Sam, and we just knew we was getting so much time and space, and then like I said, they weren't getting anywhere near us, and then obviously from again going back to scoring in clusters like we've said, it's just I got that one goal and the pen, and then you just feel like that I'm gonna score again here, and obviously I've got the second goal when I rounded the keeper, and that was that. Then I remember going in at half time and said to Shippers, I said, "Oh, if you're running through, mate, just square it for us so I can get there." Yeah. The second half, he's flicked one back through his legs on the volley, and I've managed to connect with it so sweetly. And I said, I didn't mean for you to flick it back through your legs, mate. Yeah. From Zane, some touch from him, and nice finish.
And then it was only a couple of days later we travelled up to Tranmere on New Year's Day. First thing, Matty, what did you think of the pitch when you arrived?
Yeah, that took me back to some non-league days. That did.
Yeah.
Actually, I know. In fact, that was worse than probably I've ever seen in non-league. I've seen some horrendous pictures, but that was something I'd never seen before in my life. It was how the game went ahead. I would never know because and I think they had a game called off the week before or week up.
I think they had. Yeah,
it was horrendous, but again, it took some absolute. I don't know if you're allowed to swear on here, but it took some.
Yeah, you can swear, mate. Don't worry.
Took some bollocks on here on that pitch, and to go and do what we done. And get on the ball like that, basically like Wycombe, but you go, instead of going up to top of the table, you go in the bottom of the table in the division. Again, you can try and take the pitch out of it and get sucked into playing how they're going to play and do that. But no, we just thought, right, we can play on this. We'll show everyone that we can play on this. And again, other than a 20-minute spell in the second half, 15 minute spell in the second half when they put us under and got back into it. We managed to play some unbelievable football on a cow field.
Yeah, I was going to say we started really well that day, didn't we? We started quickly and we were quickly into a 2-goal lead. They obviously pulled one back just before the break. What did the gaffer sort of say to you at half time?
He just said, just keep going. Obviously, he was a bit pissed off with the goal that was conceded because we was cruising. We literally had showed them nothing, and he was a bit pissed off with the goal that was conceded. And he just said, look, the next goal is important, and let's make sure that it's us that gets it. And we was fortunate that they missed the pen actually. Yeah,
that was a big moment, that wasn't it?
But then obviously Cal come on. I'd only scored one goal up to this point, and Cal said to me, I don't know why he come up to me, he just come running up to me. He was like, Godders, I'm going to get you another hat-trick today. I was like, yeah, go on then, mate. And he just went on a little mazy, didn't he? Or went down and it's managed to stop in the puddle, and he got it out of the puddle and played it to Cal, and he played a like an inch perfect through ball for me.
Yeah.
It in the bottom corner, and then he said, look, I'm going to go on a little mazy here and you're going to get a pen. He said, I can feel it. And sure enough, he went on a little mazy and he won the pen, and I managed to get another hat-trick. And them last 2 goals probably go to Cal.
Yeah, he did a lot there, didn't he? I was going to say that third goal, it was a lovely team goal, wasn't it, with the assist. And it must be pleasing as a striker when you get a ball like really nicely worked through to you like that, and you just, you can just bury it then, can't you?
Yeah, I literally didn't have to break stride. I had to put a little slide in, but that's mainly because of the pitch, and it was getting away from me a little slightly. But I think the slide and everything like that helped the finish. Just to put it right in the bottom corner, and the keeper didn't really have a chance.
Yeah, right in front of all the Cough fans as well. Must have been nice.
Yeah, makes it all better. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously that was 2 hat-tricks in the space of 4 days. So you must have been starting to think about an extension for your house to fit all the match balls in.
Yeah, my missus is raging, mate. She is. She hates all the match balls, but luckily I've got 2 in the cabinet. I had 2 in the cabinet from my Stevenage days, and my missus's mum's got about 10 match balls at her house from my non-league days at Ebbsfleet and places like that. But the special ones were framed and in a cabinet. So I had the Stevenage ones in a cabinet, and I said, you do realise that these double hat-trick balls are now going in that, and then the FA Cup ball and the Stevenage balls, they're going to have to go in there as well, but on top somehow. And she weren't happy, mate, put it that way. They're still there, but she looks at them every day and she's like, they're not staying there.
Yeah. Well,
they've been there since January now, so
they're doing
well. Yeah.
Probably the only person not to be happy with your 2 hat-tricks at Christmas.
I know, yeah.
You're listening to Sky Blues Extra.
The Sky Blue fans had many conversations, and one is about obviously what we'd be like in Championship. And we played Birmingham in the Cup, didn't we? And I know you played in the Cup in both ties. What was it like testing yourself against Championship opposition, Matty?
Yeah, it was something we was all looking forward to, because obviously we was flying high in the league and doing really well, and it was something we was really looking forward to. And I think even like I've said before, but players speaking to us during the game, and when you've got their captain Harley Dean saying to us that you boys play some proper stuff, don't you? I think even Birmingham fans would be daft to think that we didn't deserve to go through in the tie with the football that we played and the chances and pressure that we put them under. And I know not so much, there weren't too many chances for either side in the first game, but God, we put them under some serious amounts of pressure, especially in the second game. So, I think we deserved to go through. But then looking back on it, us as boys have said it, that was probably going out of the cup, as much as we'd have loved the cup run and away to Leicester. I know it's such a big game for the fans and the club, that it was probably in disguise that we lost that game, because we would have gone, we would have gone Rotherham, Sunderland, Ipswich, or I can't remember the game before Rotherham. What was the game before Rotherham? I can't remember.
It was it Rochdale away?
Tom.
Yeah, Rochdale away. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was another bad pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was another bad
We'd have
pitch.
gone Rochdale. Yeah, Rochdale, Rotherham, Sunderland.
And Ipswich.
Yeah, but in between it was the Leicester game.
Portsmouth as well.
Oh,
Leicester,
Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so them 3 games. So it would have gone Portsmouth on the Tuesday, then Sunderland on that Saturday, then Leicester, then Ipswich.
Yeah.
It would have been a hell of a lot of games, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and you just think, like, hold on a minute, we're playing our 4 hardest games of the season, and then we've got Leicester in between them, and it's just that you just think, like, looking back at that is a blessing in disguise now.
Yeah, definitely. And bringing it back to that Portsmouth game, that was a huge 3 points. Talk us through that goal that you scored. It was almost like Robbie Keane-esque for us Sky Blue fans against Arsenal, if you've ever seen that goal he scored.
Yeah.
Brilliant ball by Cal O'Hare after quick thinking by Dabo with the throw in, and a brilliant swivel finish by yourself, Matty.
Yeah, well, it was quick thinking, like you said, by Fanky, and you can hear on the video, you can hear him shouting Cal, because Cal was looking away at the time.
Yeah, and
Fanky's shouting Cal, and I'm shouting Cal, and Cal turns around, and luckily the ball's there bouncing towards him, and I just said flick it. And he flicked it, and it was coming perfectly over my shoulder, and it's quite a difficult finish, and but it's like a finish that I love, because I feel that they're one of my better finishes, because it's just instinct. You don't have to think about it. It's just it just comes naturally to me, and I managed to get the perfect connection, and it
all about body shape there, isn't it, Matty?
Yeah, it went right in the bottom corner, and that was obviously the aeroplane come out again after that.
What's the story behind that, Matt?
It's so boring. The story's so boring. It's just stuck. Yeah, me and Shippers.
You can ham it up if you want. You could just ham it up for people.
No, it's so boring, but it's been so effective, and it's not going to change.
Yeah.
But me and Shippers were messing around after training one Thursday or Friday before the Donny game. And one of us ran off doing the aeroplane. I said, if we score, we'll do the aeroplane on Saturday. I said, but we need to get everyone on it. Get all the boys to run over doing the aeroplane. And obviously he scored at Donny. And obviously we've done it. Me and him have done it. And it weren't until we saw the video after, and we're all cracking up on the coach, because you can see Fanky in the middle of nowhere, start from miles away, just start doing it from nowhere. And it's just stuck since then, that everyone that scores, just someone's done the aeroplane running over to them, or they've done the aeroplane, and obviously it's stuck.
It
with
really
me.
winds the away fans up as well, so it's proper shit-house-tree, isn't it? We love it, don't we?
Yeah, you can do the aeroplane right in front of their fans. And it's just,
we've noticed you lot doing that a few times.
Yeah.
And then we spoke to Michael Rose recently, and he picked out the Rotherham draw as a real key result. How much resilience did we have to sort of show that night and come back to get, a really big point?
Yeah, it shows obviously the character that was just growing and growing and growing. We obviously had great character all season with like the Portsmouth away and all that, but then your characters and your character as a team comes out towards the end of the season when you're really needing points and you're going for that promotion. And obviously to go goal down was that really brought out our character. And I know they had the better of the first half, but again we got back into the game when I managed to score, and again we took the game right to them, and we're again unfortunate not to win the game. And but yeah, that was a massive moment. Again, I've just named them 4 games. 3 or 4 games that we played, and they were huge. That was a huge moment, because that kept our momentum going. We hadn't lost for ages since that Shrewsbury game. Take away that cup game, and it was massive. It was massive for us not to lose. That's what we were saying. We need to not lose. We had them 4 games, and we was like, look, we need to try and get, if we can get 9-10 points out of these 4 games coming up, like we'll be right up there, and we probably only need 4 wins to get us over the line.
Yeah. It felt like we made some really big statements all the way through the season. We've talked about Wickham. Another one that was a huge statement of intent, I think, was Sky cameras were on, 3,000 Sunderland fans travelling. It all felt like a little bit of a not must-win game, but another chance to sort of show how good we were against Sunderland. What was it like when you buried that goal? And was it relief, or just, how did it feel to score that?
Because obviously we've gone in, like I was just saying, that Rotherham game, we've not losing since Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
It just kept the momentum going for us, and we said that if we could get 9-10 points out of the game, out of them 12 games, that would be happy. And we come away with 10 points out of it in the end with that one draw. And I know we said 10 points, but we was probably being a bit optimistic there with the teams that we was coming up against. I know we're probably we have ourselves as the best team in the division.
Yeah.
For the football that we play, but we was coming up against some big sides and some good teams in the division. And then obviously Sunderland rock up with a packed away end. And like you said, we just got off to the perfect start, and it was again just instinct. Jay it was a well worked goal again, and Jay put it right into the path, and again a finish that I like, just lowered hard across the keeper, and to get the aeroplane out in front of them lot was good fun. And
I'm sure you heard some comments from where you were.
Oh yeah. You get all sorts of abuse, but you just love it. It's part and parcel of the game. So I love it, and all the boys are jumping on you, and it's we had a good few beers after that game as well, and it just summed us up as a team. And then we obviously rocked up at Portman Road the following week and managed to nick another 1-0.
Yeah, and it was almost like a carbon copy of the Sunderland game a little bit. I mean, I feel that we had a lot more, probably didn't have as many nervy moments. They didn't really seem to trouble us that much. But like you say, a 1-0 and the same. Yeah,
exactly the same. It was a 1-0. It was arguably with a perfect away performance. They didn't really trouble us at all. And we nicked a goal, and away from home, it's important because it gives you something to hang on to, and we hung on, and little did we know that'd be our last game and my last goal, but to seal the championship.
Was there a point in time when you felt that actually promotion was sort of playing second fiddle, and you actually thought we were going to win the title? And I know that the sort of we've spoken, a lot of the lads have said that from day one that was almost the target, and it was always there. But was there a time when you felt we're actually going to do this now?
You look at them games, the Portsmouth, the Rotherhams, when we was taking points off them and drawing with them. You look and you think, we'd be right up there come the end of the season, and then we beat Ipswich to go 7 points clear of a game in hand, a third.
Yeah,
and that's when we're speaking in the dressing room, like me, Fads, Kells. We're speaking, and we're speaking with Adi and people like that, and they're saying, "What do you think?" And we honestly thought we had obviously 10 games to go. Some teams had 7 or 8.
Yeah, and
we physically thought that we needed 4 games, and we needed to win 4 games, and that was us. 5-6 games we'd have won, that would have secured the championship. Which the run that we was on was with some so-called easier games coming up.
Yeah,
no game's easy, but the size of the Cubs that we had played.
Yeah, of course.
Turning up that were definitely gonna fear us, and the run that we was on, and like I said, the run that I felt like I was on, it was like I was going to score in every game come the end.
Mm. We've heard a lot about how Mark Robins stayed very calm, and he never actually talked about promotion with the players. How instrumental was he in sort of keeping everyone calm and focused on the job?
He was, because we didn't have time to think about it, because we had so many. We was playing catch up.
Of course.
Because of the cup run, we was playing catch up, so we didn't have time to think about it or do anything like that. And it wasn't until it was really weird, because after the Ipswich game, when the videos now come out of us singing Sweet Caroline, it was like after that game we kind of knew that we was, like I said, not far away, not many wins away from achieving what we set out to achieve. And it wasn't just us boys that were singing. We sing that after every game that we win. And we all bash the tins and just have a good time with each other for 10 minutes. But that specific game, obviously a lot of the staff get involved, but that game, every staff member got involved, and it just made you think.
Even Mark Robbins?
Well, you could say he doesn't really do anything like that. The gaffer, he's very obviously chilled and reserved, but I'm not going to say that he didn't get involved. And that's when you think, right, we're onto something here. Yeah,
you can see that he believed in it, at that point as well.
And everyone, once you get boys and staff believing that we're going to achieve something, it's hard to stop as an opposition, like player and manager.
Yeah, I can imagine. And obviously the news finally came through on the 9th of June. It seemed like an absolute age waiting for that to trickle through. Where were you at the time when you heard the news that we'd won the title?
Literally walked in my back gate after getting off my road bike after doing a session. I literally bowled in the back gate. It was a boiling hot day. I remember it. I'm never going to forget it now. But I just warned Amy in my message. I just said, look, because it had been going on for so long, and we was hearing rumours after rumours, but nothing was ever concrete. It was driving us all insane.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Players. And I just said to Amy, I said, I just want to warn you, this was a couple of weeks ago. I said, if we find out that we're champions, I'm dropping every plan that we've got right now, driving up there.
Brilliant.
And she was like, right, okay, yeah. But she, in her mind, she says that she didn't expect it to happen so quick.
Yeah.
And I was on my road bike. I've been for a bike ride. I just come in the back gate. She's feeding the little man outside on the patio, and my phone's ringing. I've literally got my phone out of my pocket, and my phone's ringing. It was the gaffer, and he said, I just answered it by saying, "Please tell me you've got some good news." And he said, "Well, it's meant to be there's something that's meant to be happening at 3:00. But do you think you could get up here for a social distance bottle of champagne?" And I was like, right, I'll be in the car in 10 minutes. I dropped my phone, and Amy went, what are you doing? I said, we've done it. Like, it's done. She said, right, you better get yourself in the shower then. And within 10 minutes, I was on the motorway on the way up.
And obviously, it was a little bit tricky, I guess, with the sort of social distancing and stuff. But did you manage to have some celebrations anyway, sort of regardless? Yeah,
we did. Yeah, it's obviously, you can probably guess by some idiot tweeting. And
yeah, I saw a couple of tweet or two, Matty, that came out. Yeah,
there's always one idiot in there. You can't blame me in the state that I was gonna be in after being named champion. So, but yeah, it was obviously it's very obviously difficult times, but I look at it and I think it was a staff member said the other week. He said I know people will comment on how we've won it and everything, but you got to look back on it that we'll probably be the only team to win it this way.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
It will probably never ever happen again.
Yeah.
And you've got to look at it that way and just think, look, we're in the history books not only for being champions, but for being champions in like a pandemic. It's just it's crazy.
It's mad, isn't it?
But you obviously can't take what we've done for over 3/4 of the season.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've talked about,
no teams had a problem with us going up as champions. I know, obviously, Dara come out and other owners come out. They didn't have a problem at all with us going up as champions because of what we had done to teams in the league and where we was.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, that the run we were on, if anything, we were actually gathering momentum at that point, weren't we, rather than slowing down or anything like that. Yeah. So no one could argue that we didn't deserve it.
No, exactly. And everyone is like that. And you receive messages from opposition players that you've met over the years, and and they all said that we obviously deserved it. So.
Was there any point that crossed your mind about the sort of the null and void that got floated about? Was that something that kind of concerned you at any point?
That was the only thing that was worrying me, because if the season started again, we'd have won the league. That's how we felt as players. We was on that sort of run. I know we had to restart again, but with the characters and the boys that we've got, and how hard we work every day, we was going to be champions. That's how we saw it. And then the points per game, every single scenario that anyone would chuck out, we was champions.
Yeah.
But when the null and void hasn't been taken out of the equation yet, there's always this, oh no, what's going to happen? And obviously about 3 weeks in, that got chucked out by the EFL and just said that's definitely not going to happen. And at that point then, in your mind, like me, Fads and Kells and the gaffer must have spoken to each other. I must have spoken to them, especially Fads, must have spoken to him 5-6 times a week. Because we're both he's pulling his hair out, I'm pulling my hair out. And yeah, it was just one of those. It was just when we got that news, mate, honestly, I can't explain it to you.
Yeah.
The biggest relief, and but yeah, back 7 weeks prior, we kind of knew that we think the season's done, because obviously the financial situation that would leave clubs in. So we knew that we knew, but we didn't know that we was going to be champions. But we just wanted that confirmation. And obviously that took 6-7 weeks.
And bringing it back to the celebrations, Matty, I bet it was disappointing that you couldn't celebrate with the Sky Blue Army.
That's the main thing that we're obviously gutted about, because to have all the fans, an open top bus parade, an absolute carnage happening in the city centre.
Yeah.
Your family's there, every single family member, going from your cousins to your aunties, uncles, mums, dads, wives, daughters, whoever. They had all been there on that final day, and to have them on the pitch with you doing it that way, there's no better feeling.
Yeah, and considering some of the hard times the Sky Blue fans have had over the last few years, it would have been sweet for us, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, that's we've all said it. That's exactly what everyone wanted around the club, and obviously with these times, we're just gutted that it's not been able to happen.
And just on the Sky Blue Army, what's your opinion of the Sky Blue Army and the support they give you week in, week out, Matty?
Best fans in the division by a country mile. Even going down, when you 1-0 down, they get behind you, and that's what it's all about. Even after that Rotherham game, you don't usually see fans sticking around to give you a little clap after an absolute walloping away at Rotherham, and they are the best, by far the best fans in the division. Especially towards the back end of the season, when you're going to like Ipswich and that, and you're selling out away. It didn't half make a difference. It's amazing, especially when you've won at the end of the game. You as players, obviously we clap and we thank the fans for coming and everything like that. But when you're on such a run like that and you're winning, you're top of the league, you don't want to go in and hear what the gaffer's got to say after the game. You just want to stay out there and
feed on the energy, don't you?
Yeah, it's so good. Like, and the lads, like all my mates down home, are like, what's the noise like? And I always say, like, when you go to big clubs, like when you play at the Championship or you play like big clubs in our league, like ourselves, Sunderland's, Portsmouth, the noise that they, like, fans like that create is a completely different noise to anyone else. I can't explain it. Like when I've been at like Peterborough, Stevenage, all them sort of boys, there's no disrespect to them, but that's the noise that fans, huge clubs create is like a different noise, because you don't get you don't get 500 people singing, you get 3,500 people singing exactly the same song. So good. It gives you goosebumps. It's mad.
Yeah.
Like you say, that's going to carry on to next season, and we are really excited, obviously, to be back in the Championship. But for yourself, obviously testing yourself against, Championship level, it must be something you're really excited to do. Yeah,
I am. Yeah, every single player is at the club. That's obviously why you get your promotions and everything at the. That's what you want to do. If you don't want to test yourself at the highest level, you're in the wrong sport, and that's what we all want to do, and are looking forward to doing that.
Matty, we could probably spend all night chatting to you about this season, and also your journey into football. It's been a complete pleasure, really, for you to share your story with our listeners. I'd just like to say, on behalf of the thousands of Coventry fans and obviously the Sky Blues Extra listeners, that your contribution wearing a Sky Blues shirt this season and helped to secure Championship was just massively appreciated. And a massive congratulations to you and the team for getting that promotion.
Thank you. I appreciate it all. Obviously, all us boys appreciate everything that obviously you guys do, and the fans. And obviously, we wouldn't have achieved what we achieved this year without you lot and the Sky Blue Army behind us all. So yeah, it's a club effort. It's not just us it's not just us players and staff that have done it. Like I've said to newspapers, like we're at the club, we feel like that we're one big family now, and us players and fans and staff, we're all one, and that's probably why we've achieved what we've achieved this year.
Fantastic. Listeners, don't forget to like, share and comment on our Instagram, Twitter and Facebook pages. You just need to use the hashtag Sky Blues Extra Podcast. And if you're enjoying our podcast, please do review them on your platform of choice.
Thanks for listening to the Sky Blues Extra Podcast.